All right, here we go. And in 3, 2, 1.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
Welcome to the party, pal!
Welcome to Yippee-ki-yay Mother Classic. And yes, we have a classic today. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
How's
everyone
everybody?
doing?
Good?
If you notice, Debbie's back.
Hi,
Debbie's
Debbie.
back.
Welcome back.
She is back. She is back.
I'm wearing my new Jaws shirt right
I
here.
see that.
I
Very
got
nice.
today for Christmas, a little late Christmas present, which is very exciting.
Very nice.
All right, so today's
early.
show, what's that, Drew?
Or early.
Yes,
Early Christmas presents.
it's for next year.
Extremely early.
Today's film is brought by Chris, and then we'll do a round of What'd You Watch, our two-minute round of What'd You Watch. But first, Chris, tell us the film you brought to the table, please.
I brought the Merchant Ivory classic from 1985, A Room with a View. This movie is based
Wait,
on
I just want
E.M.
before you
Forster's
get rolling. Before you get rolling, I do want to say the original intent of this podcast was to defend the film that you bring to the table, and I think this is a perfect one for you to bring. So start defending. Here we go.
Sure. All right. Well, I you know me, man. I'll take on all comers. So, but this movie is
We're going to be skinny dipping on this one. I just want to tell you.
This movie is based on E.M. Forster's turn of the century, and that's 19th to 20th century novel called A Room with a View. It is essentially a comedy of manners, right? It's about a British aristocracy, or wealthy people, maybe not actual aristocracy, but people from the British aristocracy that go and, holiday in Florence, Italy. It's about a young woman and her cousin, who is her chaperone, who's kind of older, played by Maggie Smith. The young lady is played by Helena Bonham Carter.
Never looked better, by the way.
She looks
first movie.
Beautiful.
That's first
fantastic.
film, yeah.
Yeah. And she and like I said, so basically it's a British comedy of manners that takes place in the very early 1900s. This movie was extremely successful. It won 3 Oscars actually the year it came out. It was nominated. It was one of those ones that was nominated for everything, but it won for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume, and Best Set Direction. So obviously a very beautiful film, very timely. This is the kind of movie that a lot of people look at the Oscars and say, this is what's wrong with the Oscars, because these are the kind of, what was it that Christian Slater's character said in True Romance? They make unwatchable movies from unreadable books. However, this movie is actually really, really funny. I found this movie to be absolutely hysterical. I found it to be sweet, romantic, and life-affirming, to say the least. And what I love about it is that it is truly a comedy of manners, in the sense that it takes a look at the British culture, especially the upper class British culture, and really kind of makes fun of it. It makes fun of it all throughout the film when they're in Italy, and how kind of somewhat hapless they are, and how they're clustered into these little groups, and they have their tour guides and all this stuff, and all the way when they go back, and how they have this reservedness that most British people, even today, they're very proud of their reservedness. It's a national trait, you could call it, and how it basically just gets in the way of so many things and their feelings. But on top of that, it is an absolutely stellar cast. Everyone in the movie is fantastic. This is one of those films, when I rewatched it again, when I saw that it was on and I rewatched it, I just had a smile on my face pretty much from the beginning to the end. It is unlike the last couple of films that I've brought, which were very grim and pretty darn grim. This is not that. So I wanted to take a slightly different view of it.
Speaking of views, I want to see if this gets more or less views than the last 2 we brought.
Well,
This
I'm
will
going
be
to throw
fun.
this out here.
Because
You could put this in the Indian Cinemaniacs as well, because Ishmael Merchant and the woman who did the adaptation of the screenplay are both, I'm not sure if they're British natives, but they're obviously of Indian descent. So they, and obviously James Ivory and Ishmael Merchant made at least a half a dozen great films together, Remains of the Day, and a number of other films, same kind of genre, same kind of. Howard's End was another big one they did.
Howard's Endless, yeah.
And you know, once again, if it's not your cup of tea, no pun intended. And I'm sure in this case,
I have a question. This came out in what year?
1985.
And how old were you in 85?
I would have been 12.
Okay, so you didn't see this in 1985. Did you?
No, I saw this
date.
in-
Was this a date film for you? Did you read the book? What made you want to see this film?
Blockbuster.
I saw this film in the early 90s in college because, yes, I was dating a girl who really liked the movie and we saw it together. And, but even
clear
beyond,
enough.
I literally haven't spoken to that person in 20.
Well, but
Five
you
years.
went. This was okay. So it was a date film.
You were willing to make a commitment to this relationship.
Well, let me put it this way. I also went to see The Age of Innocence with the same person, and that's another film that I absolutely think is fantastic from start.
This is better than that.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen that in
maybe.
a long time.
They're both great, though.
All right. Well, a couple things. You mentioned the cast.
It's a great cast, and you can tell who the best man is in that one scene where they all go bathing together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why I didn't see that in a second, but Julian Sands played the romantic lead to I'm sorry, Helen Bonham Carter. And then of course Daniel Day-Lewis. This is early Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I think I remember seeing Daniel Day-Lewis and registering that it was him.
Yeah.
And because I saw this in the early 90s, literally like a year later, I see Last of the Mohicans, because that was like 93. And so it was like the quality of his artist, the quality of his talent, it was like in such stark, beautiful contrast there. Because in this one, he plays the kind of like the most upper crust,
uppity crust. Yeah.
Pompous kind of jerk there is. And then in the other one, he's Nathaniel Hawkeye, from the
Die. I will come for you.
Well, also the same year this came out, he was in My Beautiful Laundrette.
Not even the same year, the same weekend.
Same weekend, right. So it's two
Can you imagine
completely
going to the
different-
theater and seeing the two different Daniel Day-Lewis? That's crazy.
And then Professor Buddy from Raiders of the Lost Ark got nominated for his
Denholm
role,
Elliott,
right?
yes.
Denholm Elliott?
Professor
Okay.
Buddy.
So I'm going to tell you why I didn't see the scene you're talking about in the pond is because I watched this film. I drove my daughter to Pitt and I watched it while I was driving on the phone.
Oh, so you could really appreciate.
And I'm
Really
going to say this.
appreciate-
I'm going to say I enjoyed the film.
So you missed the
Hey.
frolicking?
I saw the frolicking. I didn't
Oh.
see any members or anything because
There
I
was a
didn't.
lot of members.
I did have
Members
to pay
of
attention a little bit.
what? Was there a club? Are you
But
talking about
here's the thing.
penises?
Here's the thing. I went into this completely like cynical. Like I am going to rip him to shreds for this one.
Have you, first off, how many, before we get jumping into it, how many of you had seen it before?
Of
I
course.
saw it in
never
the
saw it.
theaters.
Never seen
On
it.
release, Rotunda Theater.
Oh, nice. I love the Rotunda. Too bad.
I
it's
knew
gone.
about it. But I'd never seen it.
Okay, go.
So what was I saying? I got
You
You were
actually
saying
liked it.
I went in
No.
with no
In the car.
expectation.
No,
As
you
if
watched
you were
it on
a Hussar.
I knew I wasn't going to like it, but then driving
no
to Pitt,
expect-
I
I'm
looked
trying
at
to
my
think
phone
why-
and fell in love
And
with
I
the
saw
Someone
movie.
else talk because I completely lost my train of thought there. That's the age getting old really sucks. But no, I
right.
enjoyed the film. Yeah, come on, someone else. Yeah, jump in, John. I want to hear because I'll
Debbie and
remember.
Sean, go.
Well, sometimes you go into a movie with low expectations, and then as you're watching it, it touches you in a way that you didn't expect, and you realize the beauty of film. This wasn't one of those, but I'm just saying it can happen.
No, I remember now. Thank
This
you.
is not.
this
This
is-
movie's not my cup of tea.
Okay.
Oh,
no pun intended.
I appreciated the performances.
Yeah.
I already made that joke.
Bonham Carter looked. I mean, that's the most beautiful I've ever seen her. I didn't know that.
Betching.
Oh, no.
Absolutely
Really?
gorgeous.
Wow.
Do I think Denholm Elliott deserved an Academy Award nomination for his performance? No. It's just not a movie that I have any interest in. I didn't find it hilarious. I thought there were things in it, like Julian Sands is bland to me.
Yeah, he's
In fact, I thought maybe as I was watching, I was like, you know what? I think Daniel Day-Lewis could have done more with this than I thought they should have flipped the roles.
I think they should have too. I'm more used to Julian Sands as a villain.
Yeah, he just was bland to me. It's not like someone that she's gonna.
I thought he was going to end up with her brother. is what I thought.
Okay. So when because Chris, not having seen this movie and knowing about my take on full frontal nudity, Chris left that little tidbit out. So when that scene
3:10
happened,
section.
up. Oh
when
my
that
God,
scene
grow
happened,
up.
I was like, okay, this is going in a different direction. Like that other movie we watched. I'm going, okay, is
No,
that
they were
what's
just
going on? And
having
then
fun.
I
They were
know.
just
I
fun.
didn't know that at the beginning of the scene.
And it was
I
a
figured it out
reference, so you
10
know it was
minutes
good.
after the scene was over. But
You're
when it was
frolicking.
happening, I was like, wait a minute, something's going on here. So yeah, it's not a movie. I don't like these movies. I don't look for them.
These movies being what?
that
These
type,
movies.
like all the ones you just mentioned, Age of Innocence. I just that's
Howard's
not my.
End.
I would not see those movies. I have no interest in those movies.
Yeah.
I
You don't
certainly
like- you
appreciate
don't
the
like-
beauty of the
You don't
film.
like good movies, then? Is
Oh,
that
yes.
what you're going for here?
I wanted to rewatch the Yazuka when I was done with this. But I appreciate the beauty of it. I
Kazuka.
appreciate the
I just got
locations.
that.
That was and I appreciate the acting, but the movie did nothing for me. I didn't like it. I didn't care about anybody in it, and so for me, it just it's not that I hated it. I just
you didn't. You know, it's funny, John, because you seem like a very romantic guy. To
I
me,
am, but this
and I don't
this
mean
is
that,
not for me.
and I don't mean that in any like
No.
pejorative way. And to me, it's like I look at this movie, and even though I'm a quite cynical person, I do see it as being very romantic. Like
Yeah.
But was there any chemistry between Julian Sands and her at all?
Yeah, I
Not
thought
that
so.
I saw.
No, I saw it between Julian Sands and her brother. There was chemistry there, but I didn't see any chemistry.
Really,
I had
Okay.
no idea why they ended up together. I mean, I know why because that's how it was. But now I
Yeah.
remember what I was going to say. I was as I'm watching this film, I said to Bella, "I don't remember the name of this film." And then the scene starts,
Oh,
and we hear the title 10 times in that very
Yeah,
first
yeah,
scene.
that was
we
funny.
need a room with a view. You don't
I
need
got
a room with a view. We need a room with a view.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm going to finish, and then I'll let everybody else speak. I actually enjoyed the film. I did like the class aspect. I love that Dame Judi Dench
Yeah,
was this
yeah, she's
like
good, too.
like pompous writer that thought she
Yeah.
knew everything, and it turns out she was a blowhard. Young, who was the cousin? Who was the woman playing the cousin?
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith, a young Maggie Smith. I don't remember her being young ever.
Yes, he
because-
was only 300 then.
Maggie
Yeah.
Smith.
yeah. And I liked kind of the acting that was going on, and it was fun. It was funny. There was some funny scenes, and she was great. The lead, Bonham Carter, was fantastic.
Mhm.
And,
She's had a
I
fine
did like the class aspect, and I like kind of the playfulness of the film, and I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Would I ever rewatch it? No, but I would. This is one I'm going to recommend. I think it's a good film for me.
I think you should probably watch it not on your phone.
I'm good.
That's
No,
what I
I'm
was
good.
thinking.
Yeah,
Not
when he told
driving.
me that, Chris, I was
I'm
like,
good.
"That's the way to watch a movie."
And it had subtitles on it
Oh,
too. So no,
driving.
I was fine. I put
Where'd
the
you learn that from Hassan?
I put the car in cruise control. It was a piece of cake.
I bet you do.
So I quite enjoyed it that way. Sean and Debbie, what'd you?
I love the movie. I thought it was so funny, but not in a hilarious way, but in a sort of like
Sort of like seeing Sean naked way.
in a way that it was
Funny, haha.
The movie Aristocrats is sort of like a vulgar expression, sort of like what this movie is, sort of, because it is funny when you take the class distinctions and you think you're so much better. Another movie was Rodney Dangerfield's
Back to
School. I love that. It's the funniest joke, in comedy. That joke is having the classes. You're so much better than the underclassmen, or people, the untouchables in India, they would say. So to me, that is hilarious. When you think because you learn a couple of proper etiquette things and how it's supposed to be, it doesn't equate you to be a human being. It doesn't have any value just to have money. It's just ridiculous. Or to try to get that, and people chase after money their whole lives and they think that that's the answer, but it's
Love.
frivolous.
Love is the answer.
Love is the answer, Ralph. You
Love.
got it.
But Debbie, I mean, I think you're really right on the mark there, because in rewatching the film, there's little bits and pieces that I noticed, like the way that not so much Julian Sands and his father, but the way that everybody else, all the other English people, talk about the Italians, right? They're like, oh, they're so friendly, and yet so violent. They have this almost like, oh, look at these children. They're somehow or another emotionally unsophisticated.
It's okay because he's their brother.
Exactly. Well, that's it's so funny too. But I also love the character that was it Simon Callow plays. I mean, he plays this Anglican, vicar, priest that can, and they can marry. So it's a little bit different than but he's obviously so attracted to Lucy. And why wouldn't he be, And he's making all these kind of weird offhand comments. And it's like, I just love every character.
He's a rumor monger too. He starts all the stuff.
It's a big gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Drew.
Well,
I want to hear Drew. And then we'll get back to Sean if Sean has anything to say.
Well, I didn't see this movie when it first came out because I was 9.
A zygote.
Yeah. But I mean, I have seen it. I mean, I've read a bunch of Forster, and so I've seen a bunch of the movies based on his books. And it's a classic film. It's also really a classic Merchant Ivory film that basically has become, as Chris said, its own genre of period films. It's not my favorite Forster adaptation. Actually, both of these movies I'm about to mention, I've considered maybe bringing to the show. My favorite Forster adaptation would also be a good crossover with Indian Cinemaniacs, because it's David Lean's A Passage to India, which is a pretty extraordinary movie and a really great adaptation of the book. And this is also a really great adaptation of the book. The ending is a little different about how much agency Charlotte has sort of letting Lucy and George come together, but I didn't mind that it was different. And then my favorite Merchant Ivory one is The Remains of the Day. I love that movie. I love that book. It's just heartbreaking. It's some of the best stuff that Anthony Hopkins has ever done, really amazing stuff. So I thought this was nice to revisit. The first thing I did notice was that first sequence where I was like, oh, that's what this movie is about, as you mentioned. It just felt like they kept just talking about it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But one thing I had forgotten, these movies they're beautiful, but they're also kind of flat. The cinematography was kind of flat to me. I don't know if it's a lens choice or maybe just the HBO Max transfer is dull or something, but it doesn't. I don't remember. I remember it popping more, all these movies, and maybe some of them do, and maybe on Blu-ray it would pop more or something like that. It wasn't ugly by any means or anything. And also, I think it won 3 Oscars. And one of them was for Jenny Beavan for Best Costumes, which is a hallmark of the Merchant Ivory films. And Jenny Beavan won for this movie. She won for Cruella, and most importantly, she won an Oscar for Mad Max Fury Road.
I knew that was
so
coming.
there are good people working.
I knew that was
film.
coming.
There's a lot of buildup for this one.
But yeah, I don't know.
By the way, it looked great on the
liked
phone.
it.
I'm just going to say it.
I'm sure,
Colors
especially
popped on the phone.
especially the frolicking. It's light and it's funny and it's sweet and it's about love and it's nice. And I think it's more of if you read this Forster novel to get a look at Edwardian life, that's kind of a nice little peek at this world. It doesn't feel as momentous and cross-culturally important as A Passage to India or something like that. And I didn't realize it until I started reading some stuff after, but a lot of the other things that are in the movie, the books that are mentioned and discarded and different storylines and things, that's a lot of other Forster's books, like Where Angels Fear to Tread and things like that. So there's a lot of inside Easter egg stuff for the readers as well. And it's a nice, smart movie made by smart people who are excellent craftsmen who care about the work that they're serving, and that's a nice thing to see. So I hadn't watched it in a long time, and it was a little slow, of course, but it was nice to revisit.
It's quite light and playful, actually. It doesn't feel heavy to me at all.
Yeah, especially when you're driving.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I did listen to it as well and got
Quite
some of
playful.
that, but
It's quite playful.
why do you always make fun of my
It's the way it just sounds so English, the way you just said that. It's quite playful.
well,
So are you doing
Well, he's
Merchant Ivory? Is that what you're
actually
doing?
John. He's actually New English, so that's probably what it's
I don't
from.
know why. Okay,
not
Sean,
making fun
I
of
want to
you.
hear your take, Sean. And then we'll
Okay,
get
but
to
first I want to say I was the president of or founder of the Baltimore Film Club. And we would get 20 to 40 people, sometimes 5, to go out to see a movie every Monday night. And one of the films we saw, we didn't see this one, this was too early, was Howard's End. And we had a big crowd at the Charles Theater, about 42 people. And we'd all gather in a circle outside the sidewalk and vote thumbs up, thumbs down. And everybody went thumbs up, except one copywriter guy, Chris Scharf. And he goes, hey, I want a second vote. How many of you are voting thumbs up because you feel you have to. And he said, just tell me what you really feel. And we did it, and then it was majority thumbs down. People.
Why do you
felt
think
they
they
had to
felt
like-
they had to? Because it's an arty film and you got to be pretentious?
Yes,
Uh,
because the critics loved it.
yeah,
And there you were a Philistine if you don't like this movie.
right.
But, I will say when I saw this, I hadn't been to
Were
Italy.
you one of the ones that had your thumbs down?
No, I liked it. Howard's Endless. A little long. But I will say I like this film. I like it better now than I think than when I saw it originally, because I took Debbie to Italy, and I love the Italy and the Italian scenes. I love the attitude the English had during the Italians. I love the attitude that they're only going to places that are like owned and completely populated by English people. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, we just want to see the land. We really don't want to have too much interaction with the people.
Well, they're always murdering each other in front of us and getting blood on my pictures, so I don't want to deal with this.
Well, then you have to
It's
throw them
disgusting.
away because you don't know how to get the blood out of them.
Right.
So I enjoyed it. It's Helen Bonham Carter was fabulous, and she had made a career of playing this character for a while. I agree with whoever said that. I think the film would have been better. Of course, you wouldn't know at the time if Daniel Day-Lewis and Julian Sands had switched parts. I like Julian Sands, but wasn't he in Boxing Helena?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, I think that's what destroyed his career for me. Also saw that at the Rotunda.
It wasn't Warlock with Richard E. Grant.
Hey, Warlock was a decent
that
movie.
was close.
I enjoyed
He was pretty
that.
good in Arachnophobia, I thought.
No, I mean I enjoyed Julian Sands. It was like these art house actors you would see second half of the 80s, first half of the 90s. And it's like the birth of all those people are here in this movie in a sense. And to me,
It's funny, as
like
I'm listening, talking about chemistry and Julian Sands. She had no chemistry with Daniel Day-Lewis either. She didn't in the movie. She
Yeah, but
didn't have any
Purposely,
chemistry.
she wasn't supposed
Purposely,
to.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
she's not.
I didn't find.
it's funny. The only people who could touch were siblings. Like her brother, it's
a
like
lot of wrestling, a lot of
very
sibling
aloof.
wrestling. Yeah,
But her and her brother were like always wrestling,
that's
always
what I'm saying.
touching.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that that's allowed.
Mhm.
And of course, they were even excusing the obvious lovers who were driving the carriage for a while. Oh, that's his sister. It's okay that they're doing that because that's his sister.
Right.
But I thought that that's something that came up to me when I was watching it. It's sort of like how free they can be with the siblings,
Mhm.
but people outside the house they are so locked down.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she even mentions at one point, and you're not sure what the age was, is that she even mentions how like that her and Freddie used to go to that pond, and they used to skinny dip together, and bathe there, and that obviously you're right, he's always knocking her down and wrestling with her and stuff, but yet everyone else, it's like, Sissel literally asks her to marry him before he kisses her. That's that kind of uptightedness that I think that was really just kind of wonderfully.
and it was like the most uptight kiss ever too.
Well, the glasses got in the way.
Yeah.
You're devastating. So I mean, what I got to admit, and I'm going to let the little people behind the curtain a little bit. When you texted us your choice, there was a lot of like WTF, in the messages. It's like, really, A Room with a View, and I can see why you chose this film. It is a charming film. What would I? It's sort of like maybe you would feel the same way if I brought Metropolitan, but I think Metropolitan was a lot funnier. And I think
We
the
did bring
characters-
Metropolitan, didn't we?
I brought
No,
we
you
brought
brought
Barcelona,
Barcelona.
which
But I
think
understand you
is
mixing them up.
Metropolitan. But it's like this became such a genre, and this is sort of the first one. This is the first real
Well,
Merchant Ivory
I am
film.
just glad that it was a date film that Chris went to. For some reason, I feel better about that. I don't know.
Well,
why.
what was my excuse?
That just shows how crass I am. But Yeah, I mean, it was a shocker that you picked it, and it was a shocker that I liked it. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised.
Well,
Um,
you should really watch it on it.
You know what? Keep saying that. I'm not going to. Okay, I saw what I needed to see. I'm
What
done.
if you
I got it.
What if you had a laser disc?
I got it. I'm not going to put this on. I don't want this movie. I
You
didn't find there was
have
no
this-
chemistry between those two people.
Well, they're
And-
also pretty reserved emotionally, generally. I mean, that's part of it.
He
know?
wasn't.
It was an
less
acting
so.
choice. It
Yeah.
was an acting choice.
He was less so, but and I'm not.
Well,
gonna
wasn't
say-
that his whole thing? He was a free spirit. You know, the question mark on
Well,
the back
look
of
at
the
his
picture.
father.
Yeah, but he's still, you know, he's still like is somewhat
Part of
bound by his
Yeah, but
upbringing.
look at the royalty. Look at the nobility that his father displayed. I mean,
Mhm.
when you see that, you understand the characters. You know, I don't know. Hero
What was
is-
his nobility that he? I don't understand because he gave the room up.
He gave up the room.
Yeah, but he
Look
was
at the
also
view. I mean, it was like
He's trying to get his son laid.
No, he was trying to make his son happy.
yes, he was trying to
Right.
make.
Didn't
Like I
get
said,
that because you were
very
watching
sad.
it on a
Like
phone.
I said, he was
in
trying
your
to get his
car.
kid laid.
No, he wasn't. He was trying to keep his son from staying down in the melancholy that he was in.
Right.
So
That's right too. There's
he,
that
he
side.
believed in love and he wanted that for his son, which is
He
Because he was in love with
Thank
Daniel
you.
Day
Thank
I'm
Lewis.
you.
sure there's some deep messages that I missed on my ride on Route 70 or wherever.
I can't
was,
imagine
but-
how you could miss
Yeah,
them.
no, that's
shocking.
quite the Cinemaniac experience right there.
I
Well,
did
it's
want to
like-
say, John, if you want to see another movie that has Julian Sands and more penises, you could watch Naked Lunch.
Oh.
Now, it's not his
Peter
penis.
Weller. Isn't that
The,
Peter
yeah,
Weller?
the penises are attached to a typewriter, but it might be more.
I
of
gotta,
the
John. I
vibe
just
that you're
gotta
looking for.
understand what is your fear of the male penis? I
Yeah,
don't
Ralph, that's
The
what it
male
is. No,
penis.
it's a fear. You've got it.
That's
It's
what
a
it
fear.
sounds like.
I don't know. It's
I
just
mean,
weird.
you
It's
react-
like
you had a
spiders. Ralph.
reaction.
It's like spiders.
It's like
I just have a
How could they
fear.
do that
That's what it is.
scene?
You
What
have
about the
completely
shrinkage?
diagnosed my problem with
That
that
war
is a
with that
fear.
water.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah, that's what it is.
John,
But
is this true?
yeah, it is. It's spiders and penises. I have this phobic. So Ralph's got it
Yeah.
pinned.
John, I'm
Well,
proud
wait
of
a
you
minute,
that
what
you
about
could
a
admit
spider's
that in a
penis?
safe space. I think it's really
If a
good
spider
to-
has a
to say
penis,
it.
then I'm really scared. All right.
That would be 8 legs and a penis. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's a 9-legged spider.
All right, let's rate this one.
My
Shall
cat
we?
just rolled her eyes.
Anybody
at
want
me.
to finish up, Chris? Any last defense of this or?
Yeah, you know, I will say this. It is kind of funny though. Living in the time that we live in now, you see, you know, and it's that great scene where, you know, George Emerson comes up the hill and he just grabs Lucy and kisses her.
Disconnected.
And in your mind, all you can
connected.
help but think of when you hear that in your mind is, that's assault, brother.
That's me too. Me too.
That's assault these days. You can't do that anymore.
Right.
Oh,
But-
I still can't believe that that's true. I
Well,
love
it's-
that scene, and that
It's a wonderfully beautiful scene, but it
What, he
is-
grabs her in front of the boyfriend, like when she walks away from the boyfriend and he grabs her on the steps?
No, that was
there-
another
there's-
scene.
Yeah, that's a different scene.
He's talking about the one in the
That one
field.
she-
Well, that was
she-
the second assault. The first assault was in the
like-
field.
they meet in
Yeah,
the
but-
field and they just go.
Oh my
I
god.
love
God.
that. Oh my gosh, I love
No,
it.
I loved it too. It's very romantic,
Oh,
but it
Debbie,
is-
you're such a sucker. I love that
But,
about you.
No,
but the
She
second
likes
time
a
when he
good
does
swim.
that, when they're behind when they're at the house, she definitely kisses him back. That's pretty
Yes.
obvious.
Then gets offended.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
obviously
Claire.
more of a
It's the
mutual.
woman that-
I
the
did
la-
like seeing a young Dame
Much.
Duty Dench too. I thought
Yeah,
that
what's
was
her
fun.
name, Ralph? What's her
Dame
name?
Duty Dench?
Judy Dench.
Judy.
Dude,
All right, let's rate it. I'm done with this. Okay.
All right.
Sean and Debbie.
Loved it. Yippee ki yay!
Yippee ki yay!
Drew.
Hey. Sorry.
Yippee-ki-yay, Zooby-Doo. Yeah.
Yippee ki John.
I'm sorry to say it's yippee-ki-nay for me.
Oh, you're
Sorry.
so polite. You're
Sorry.
so polite.
It was quite bad. Actually.
John, let me ask you
One
this question.
penis down.
Yeah,
from
go ahead.
John.
Yeah.
Did you give when you saw the Aristocrats? What was your rating of that?
The aristocrat.
The movie about the joke.
You're talking about. Oh, I haven't seen that movie.
He'll never.
Oh,
That's
you'd
not
love
one
that
he will
movie.
sit through.
You must.
You'd love it.
You
I'm
must.
sure. I'm sure I will love that movie.
No, I
I'm
don't
sure
think
my
you will.
fear will.
All right,
In some way,
Chris. Nice job. Good defense.
Yeah, Chris, great choice. Good
I,
defense, Chris. I will say you
actually,
defended it
there's
well.
one other thing I do have to say, Ralph, but
Oh,
this is more
God.
Do
directed
it.
to you. You know what David Lynch said about watching a movie on your phone, right?
No.
He basically said, if you think you're going to get the same experience watching a movie on your effing phone, you will not in a million years.
What's your
so go
point?
watch it. Go
What's
watch
your
it on a big TV.
What's your point? I've done it. I've seen what I had to see. All right.
I don't even think you watch
didn't
movies on
see what you
TVs. You
had.
watch them on your computer, right?
No, I watch them on my TV.
You do. How
Yeah,
big
that
your
one
TV?
I had a couple hours to kill. I thought I'd get it
How
over
big's
with.
your TV?
56
You're
inches?
afraid of penises,
Oh, so
and all
you
of a
got a
sudden you're a
small
size
TV?
queen?
Yeah, small TV.
Good
All right.
Lord.
Now we're going
All
to do a
right.
round of What'd You Watch? Debbie, I told you we add a 2-minute timer, and it's now per block. So you and Sean go first. And go.
I've been watching Love is Blind, and Sean has been listening to it as he's working, writing. But I love this show. It's just,
Love is Blind?
Love is Blind. People, and the
Reality
premise
show.
is you go into a pod and you talk to the person, you connect spiritually and no
like- yeah, okay.
physicality, and then you pick the person, and then you get engaged and you get married.
And then the lights come on?
And then you go, ah!
Yeah, I saw that. How long do they talk to each other?
A long time.
Really?
Like weeks of talking.
And the point is they're going to get engaged
They're
without
gonna get
looking at each
engaged
other.
and they
Yeah,
get
without
married.
seeing the person.
And then they have a party
That's insane.
afterwards, and then they have a relationship with their castmates, and it's really good.
They don't
It's-
all get engaged, do they? Every couple?
No, of the
They get
10
engaged, but-
people that
How many
were
get
on-
married?
got together that got engaged. Only 2 resulted in marriage.
The other 2 left them at the altar.
I think I saw the COVID version of this show. Like they had oh no, that was on Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live did a COVID version of this show. That's pretty funny. But
Okay, is
Okay.
my 2 minutes up?
no, you got a minute left. You guys want to share?
Well-
What are you going to do?
What do you think of it, Sean? The show?
It's been enjoyable listening. Haven't actually seen it.
But
you
isn't that
listened
like
to-
kind of like what the show
Yeah,
is?
that's the premise of the
Right.
show, isn't it?
Yeah. And I actually
I like Love
really
is
go to the
Blind, but I
wedding.
don't watch it.
Wedding. What'd you say, Drew?
I like Love is Blind, but I don't watch it.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Ravens lose again?
Yes.
Okay.
I missed the end.
Okay. Just wondering.
It was sad too. But anyway, the movie, the
How did the
show-
Patriots do?
They're out.
also lost.
No good.
I'm so glad they're out. They would have got
Yeah.
smoked in the first round anyway, so
All right.
I'm glad they're out.
Debbie, they're
So
cutting into
actually-
your time.
I just want to say one more thing about this show. When I was watching it, it was like I was at the wedding of these people that I felt like I knew them, watched them get together. And actually, I cried at a couple of the weddings.
Oh,
It
wow.
was like,
It really touched you.
it was very emotionally,
Wow.
is love blind? That's the premise. That's the experiment.
Look at me.
Blind and deaf.
Apparently it is.
Right. All right. Next up, John. Go. What'd you
Okay,
watch?
so is everyone familiar with That's Entertainment, those movies?
Yeah.
Oh, we watched all those.
Great movies. Well, there's one called That's Dancing, and it's a little bit
watched that.
different than the other 3 because the first 3 are all about MGM. With That's Dancing, they open it up to other studios. And the reason why I love it is, as everyone knows, I've talked about it, I've done musical theater, and I'm not a I'm a I'm
And
a,
you
I
don't
can
like a
move-
room with the view? I don't get
I
that.
can move on stage, but I'm not really a dancer. And Gene Kelly's like my hero. So when I see these movies with these dancers, and there's a couple, especially I want to mention, Eleanor Powell, who I was not familiar with till I started watching these movies, and she was probably the best female tap dancer ever. She was just incredible. And there's 2 black dancers named the Nicholas brothers.
Oh, they were
If
fantastic.
you watch them dance, it's phenomenal. And Gene Kelly put them in a movie, The Pirate, where he danced with them, and that was the first time a white guy danced with 2 black men on film. It's just incredible. And Busby Berkeley, it goes from the start of dance up until I don't know what year it came out, like 78, something like that. But Fame was in there, Michael Jackson was in there, so it wasn't just old musicals. But if you like dance and you can appreciate the art of dance, it's a phenomenal movie. And it flies by too. So if you get a chance, it's on TCM. Check it out. As well as if you haven't seen That's Entertainment, I like the first one much better than the latter 2. But the first one and That's Dancing is great. Check it out.
John, I think that's very brave of you because I know when you were watching That's Dancing and all those men were dancing, and the whole time they were dancing, they had a penis. And you just you just got past your fear, and I'm really proud of you. I
Well,
think it's really
I
important.
think it's the exposed penis.
I
but
think
that's what I'm saying.
they were covered, so that kind of helped.
Oh,
There's a great YouTube
okay,
clip
okay.
from Lionel Richie's song "Dancing on the Ceiling,"
Yeah.
where they compile
Fred
all
Astaire.
the
Yeah.
dancing from
Yeah.
all movies. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's great
Yeah.
fun. All right, Chris, what'd you watch? And go.
I finally finished The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. And it's I'm looking forward to the second season. It had some issues, it had some problems. It was really, really dense in the sense that it's one of those ones where, I've read those books. I did not read the History of the Elves, the Silmarillion, but I've read those books, and it is very dense. You have to it's one of those ones where you almost have to open up, after you watch it, go back and look at Wikipedia to see what everything means. So that's a little off-putting sometimes. I've always been a big believer of you shouldn't have to do homework to make a movie or a TV show work. But that being said, I'm still looking forward to the second season. Hopefully it'll bring some stuff, maybe they were doing a lot of laying of the groundwork in this one,
Laying
so
the pipe.
the second season comes up, and it's going to be exciting, hopefully.
I think I read they're switching showrunners.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I
that
think I
might
saw that
help
too.
because they got a lot of blowback for that first season.
Yeah, before I don't want to get into too much, but you know how I feel about make your movie, make your show. I'm not saying you ignore people, but it just feels like a lot of shows that I've liked over the last few years get a lot of blowback, and then they get prematurely canceled, in my opinion. And then and it's like people are like, oh, well, the fans didn't like it. Who cares if there's 10,000, guys that have nothing better to do but sit around and write stuff on the internet, doesn't like it.
There's
I
more
don't
than
know.
10,000.
I was going to say, I wish there were only
I mean,
10,000.
The problem is, Chris, they
My
go
point
out
is
and
that
they
they're really
trash the
going for
fans before the show even comes out. And
I
then
don't remember them
the show
trashing
comes out, and then
fans
they're
for the
shocked
show.
that people are upset. That's what I
Right.
hate. Shut up, put the show out, let it stand on its own. Don't attack the fans. Just put it out and
I
see
see
what happens.
fans attacked all the time.
Yeah, it's
Particularly
ridiculous.
The female Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
They were attacking the. Of course, the people were attacking it.
I was about to. All right, we're done.
No, go ahead. I'll give you 10 more seconds, Sean. Finish.
Yeah,
your
we
thought.
jumped in.
What me?
It's fine. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
We don't need to rehash it.
Female Ghostbusters. All right, Drew, go.
So we mentioned, I think before we started recording, there's a new trailer out for a movie called Renfield, which looks like a very fun
Yeah,
spin
looks
on
great.
Dracula with Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. So two Nicholases should be a good combination. I finally got my surround sound hooked up. Finally. Thank you, Norman Kelly, for helping me get it figured out, because I am really just shit at measuring. Don't get scared, John, but I had to measure 14 inches and then do it again to hang the speakers, and I'm very bad at that. So I was trying to decide, what do I want to watch now that I finally have the speakers up, and I watched some
I had
scenes
14
like
inches. I wouldn't be watching anything.
Look at you, Sean, jumping right on, right? That's the timing. And I watched the end of Top Gun Maverick, which is just on the Blu-ray, which is just spectacular action.
Oh, with the
and
surround.
sound mix.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
they pop up after the run and the missiles start going off after them, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I said, I want to watch a movie I haven't watched in a long time, that I've wanted to watch in a while, that should be something that has a good surround mix and also is lighthearted and fun. So I watched Children of Men. Which I hadn't seen in a long time, and is a spectacular movie. Kelly also hadn't seen it for a long time. She watched it with me, and she had such good nightmares from it that we actually ended up watching Marcel the Shell with the shoes on for the second time the next day, just for a palate cleanser. But I have to say, that movie is still spectacular. It's by Alfonso Cuarón, who also did great stuff like Y Tu Mama Tambien and Gravity. And that movie is from 2006. And goddamn, if there isn't some stuff in that movie, all over that movie, that is just as relevant
some
today.
amazing camera shots.
Like there's, illegal immigrants in cages, a worldwide plague taking terrible things
Is that
from people.
Clive Owen? No. Is that
Yeah, it's Clive Owen.
It is.
There's a whole
Julianne
battle
Moore.
sequence that just evokes
Michael Caine.
Ukraine as soon as you start watching it, and and then of course the way that it's shot, the intimacy of the action scenes, and the no cutting. And I'm gonna do what Michelle Yeoh did on the Golden Globes and say, stop with that piano shit. And I think that you should revisit it. Yeah, well, you can figure it out. I think it's worth revisiting that movie, but I will warn you, it's as bleak as you remember, but it's also very, I would say, It was prescient, if you want to bring that word back.
I
to
like
the
that
show.
word. Thank you.
But it's a really, really excellent film to revisit, and I'm glad that I watched it again, and I heard it all around me. So,
Drew, can I recommend a great surround movie?
Of course.
Das Boot.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that has a great mix.
to me, when I
Actually, you know
first
what?
got
Die
my
Hard is one of the
synopsis,
best surround.
That is
Die Hard.
I would believe it.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. There's so many good choices.
Yeah.
But if you really want the sound, like I think like Top Gun Maverick on Paramount Plus is a Dolby Atmos mix. Like you can get those things, but on Blu-ray all the sound is uncompressed. So even if you put on one of the movies streaming with a real mix and it's like, oh, this is good, this sounds great, it doesn't really have that punch and the fullness of the disc. And that's why I'm always gonna try to get them if I can. Which is why now that you're a Golden Globe winner, RRR, please come out on Blu-ray or 4K
Oh my God,
or something,
that would be great.
because I did watch that also on the surrounds, and that was really fun having the music all around me. But I would love to see that in that way.
Yeah, my phone played surround for Room with the View in the car. It was
Well, it's the only way to keep the road.
Well, you
noise
had
down.
headphones on, right?
I was wearing headphones. I had the virtual.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
So-
you were in the metaverse watching, a room with a view, a room with a virtual view.
All right, so what I watched was the Netflix documentary called Monster of Wall Street, the Bernie Madoff.
Oh, Bernie Madoff. How was it?
Four-parter. It was okay. Joe Bertlinger, I think that's his name.
Bill Berlinger, yeah, sure.
Yes, who did that?
Paradise Lost,
Right,
and
that one. That documentary about the three guys who got accused of devil worship.
the
or
West
whatever.
Memphis Three. Yeah,
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It kind of goes into like I'm a big Bernie Madoff. I love watching all this stuff, and I think the Wizard of Wall Street and
I thought
actually
you were going
the
to say I'm a big
miniseries-
Bernie Madoff fan, and I was like,
Not
whoa,
a
wait
fan.
minute.
I like watching all this stuff. Wizard of Wall Street. The miniseries that Richard Dreyfuss played Bernie Madoff was very good. That's on Prime, I think. And then Chasing Madoff, which is about the math guy who figured out it was a Ponzi scheme within 5 minutes. Harry.
How about the Barry Levinson directed movie?
That's
That
the
was
one.
the De Niro.
That
Niro.
was De Niro. Yes, that was
Yeah.
the Wizard of Lies, I think, as it was called. And that writer who wrote that book is in all these documentaries too, and she's in every one of these because she actually interviewed Bernie Madoff in prison. It's good, but I've seen everything already. The only thing this added, there were four main guys who were really part of the scheme that were brought out in this one that I hadn't heard before. One of them actually ended up dying in a pool. They don't know if it was suicide or if he just had a heart attack. But he was one of the main four that would feed off the Ponzi scheme to take money, and they're the ones constantly taking money in and putting it out, taking money in and putting it out. But actually, the Richard Dreyfuss one does a really good job of showing how all that stuff worked between the 19th and the 17th floor. It's pretty good if you're not completely immersed in the Bernie Madoff stuff, because it's you really get a lot of good information. But if you know all the other stuff, this kind of repeats that anyway. But it's still well done.
Bernie Madoff, he's the one who made off with all the money.
That is absolutely correct. I wish I had my rim shot loaded. Like I didn't.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you're right. All right.
I know you would watch. I just watched Margin Call again,
I love
Oh,
Margin Call.
Such a good
Yeah.
movie.
and that's shot by a local guy from Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a very simple movie too. They didn't spend a lot of money, and it's fantastic. That's a late Kevin Spacey.
Who's
film
going to
as
play
well.
the FTX guy? Jonah Hill?
He probably could, right?
They got to make a movie of that clown. Big money.
I see
Here
the
we
wheel.
are.
Big money.
Yes.
Chris
Big
is now
money.
off the wheel. He had two in a row. Let's see who's next for this.
No bankruptcy. Big money. Big money.
Big money.
There he is.
Yeah. Oh God, please no.
I was my hat came off during the middle of that shot.
Well, continuity is overrated. Don't worry about it.
Continuity is the hobgoblin of small
There
minds.
you go. So, Sean, you have the next film.
Yes, and I'm guessing I'm going to probably pick a western, but we will
Nice.
see.
Okay.
Something that's like romantic and period.
Cat
The
Ballou?
super wide screens are a little difficult on the phone because you really don't get a lot. So, could you get one that's a little beefy? You can
Oh,
pick
there'll
one?
be some beef in it.
Okay.
You know, Sean, Heaven's Gate is always out there.
Oh, my God.
Which version? The 90-minute, the 2 hour, the 2.5, the
All right.
4 hour.
Let's see
The
how many
longer we
views
get,
this
I
one
think-
gets. Let's see how many views not Howard's End. A Room with the View
With a
gets.
view.
They're interchangeable, Ralph. I mean, doesn't matter.
So, all right, good job, Sean. Let us know what the movie is as soon as you can.
Hopefully people won't be going, WTF as soon as I.
Let's not forget to subscribe. I don't know, John, you keep forgetting, but I'll do it for you.
I'm not forgetting. I'm just waiting. You know, you always get mad at
Go
me when
ahead.
I do it.
Go ahead, lay it out.
As always, please subscribe, hit the notification button, and you know what? Smash the like button too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
I think I'm going to like it.
There you go. Oh, by
Hey,
the way, I
well-
want to shout out to Drew's wife, Kelly. She actually commented on an edit that happened at the end of one of our shows.
Oh yeah.
And I was very happy that somebody watched it to the end.
It's
So
very
that
funny.
that was life affirming. So let her know I really appreciate that. Okay.
I will. And
That
you know
was
what?
pretty
She'll
funny.
she'll know you said it because she'll watch to the end of this one.
Yeah.
whether-
I
whether
was
you
so
or not.
you understand. I was so touched. I almost wept. I was I
Aw.
couldn't believe it. So
It was quite
I'll let her
lovely.
know.
yeah, it was nice. So thank her for that.
It was on one of our videos.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You
I
gotta
don't know
watch
if
it.
you know
John,
that,
John,
Sean,
we
but
actually these videos actually live on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
you know that.
can watch them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can actually watch them. Okay.
It's a
You can
visual
watch
medium.
them.
Just so
Right.
you know.
Everybody,
It's a visual medium.
Debbie, I hope you're starting to feel better. Thanks for
Yeah.
thanks for
Welcome
getting
back,
back
Tim.
on
Good
it.
to have you back.
He
We missed
feels
you.
Great.
We missed those
you. Everybody
one-liners.
missed you. So
Thank you.
welcome back, and we'll see you anyway. Chris, we'll keep you. Sorry, we're keeping you awake.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we caught you. We caught you.
Dropping lid.
yawning.
Drop it lid in the middle of our show. So, all right, everybody, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
I'm good. See ya.